Super Random Japan. Nani?
Okay, so Netflix went and did it again. They made a series I clicked on expecting cringe, only to realize 6 hours later that I have to decide between watching the rest of it or getting any sleep before work. Needless to say, it was a pretty terrible day at work the next day. But worth it to get to see a great original series like House of Ninjas. Now, I figured a show called House of Ninjas would be cringe or comedy because of the name and premise, a family of retired ninjas who are trying to blend into normal society. I mean, come on. How can you even make such a show seem serious? Well, by providing a decent background, adding good story writing, and most importantly, a great cast with great set and costume designers. Not only did they make something that seemed believable, but I like the added touches of modern materials and designs for the ninjas' attire, and that they each have their own style so you can tell who is who, even when their faces are covered. Most importantly, the show works because it's mostly written by Japanese writers who can actually tie such a story into a world that is believable for Japanese themselves. It's not some Westerners coming in to make an action show just because Western people still love ninjas. One caveat is that you shouldn't go into this series expecting non-stop action and intrigue. All that is there, but the spacing makes those moments even more exciting. Most of the show, however, is actually more of a drama with some comedic elements as the family of retired ninjas try to cope with their quote-unquote normal lives in which they have little training and skill. From a failing sake brewery that was only meant to be a front for their real jobs, to being students and part-timers, all while they try to scrape by and maintain the home life they've always known. The main character, Haru Tawara, played by Kento Kaku, is a shy, insecure vending machine worker who merely wants to get to know a pretty girl who patrons a local beef bowl restaurant. Kento does an amazing job, being a nervous dweeb in one aspect of life, but a royally confident badass in his private life. This double life eventually blends together, causing each version of himself problems. I could go on talking about all the characters, but you really need to watch the show to see for yourself. The whole family complements each other perfectly, from the mother Soichi, who tests the limits of her husband's patience as he wants nothing more than the family to rid themselves of their ninja ways. Then you have the ever-rebellious daughter Nagi, who was just learning the family's trade when they decided to retire, and so now is a college student all too eager to find her true calling as a ninja. Finally, you have the oldest and the youngest family members who truly glue it all together. Riku is the youngest brother and only one never to have been trained in the ninja ways, only leading him to feel alienated from the rest of the family since they've kept their past secret even from him. This leads to an ongoing joke that he thinks he was kidnapped at birth or adopted. Finally, you have Taki, played by the legendary Nobuko Miyamoto, of classic films like Tampopo, A Taxing Woman, and The Gentle Art of Japanese Extortion. As always, she plays an unassuming but extremely competent matriarch, one moment a sweet old grandma, the next a stealthy killer. She shows that her peak skills, while rusty, are the most honed of the family, especially when it comes to her senses. Of course, some of that is also female intuition, of course. Lastly, the side characters are all great too, from the Bureau of Ninja Management, or BNM, the agency keeping tabs on the family, and all the characters within it, to the opposing Fuma clan, who's the ninja clan that were the ancient rivals of the Tawara family, who are really descendants of one of the most legendary ninja of all time, of course. Tawara is not their traditional name. I couldn't recommend this series more, especially as it was a pleasant surprise for me, which naturally ups the value, for me at least. I went in with low expectations and it far surpassed them. Now, that's not to say it's perfect. Some people will be disappointed in the somewhat far-fetched story, but hey, if you made it past the title and trailer, you should be prepared anyway. Other people may want more action, but I not only think there's plenty, but the action they do show is top-tier choreography performed by credible actors. In fact, the only one who seems a bit weak is Nagi, but I don't think that's the fault of the actress, but more the fact that her character was never fully trained before they retired. And sure, the grandma clearly has a stunt woman doing the harder aspects of her fighting, but I still think they blended it pretty well. All in all, there's little I would change about the show. The things I would change are spoilers, and so must wait for another video perhaps. That's all I've got for now. Go watch House of Ninjas on Netflix, or don't. You do you. Thanks as always for watching. Later.